business. And another area or the other stage of business is a declined business, a business that has potentially reached a mature stage and now they've gone decline. So do we have a BlackBerry-like business in the room today? Just by a show of hands, or at least a text on the chat box, who do we have in the room? And maybe Tina and Karabo, you will keep us accountable there. So I think I've given you definitions of what a stage of business that is, size of business. And I always get in trouble with a lot of small businesses when I call businesses that are making 20 million rand and call them micro enterprises because they believe they are now big businesses. But really, in the definition of South Africa in terms of SMME or MSME, when we define an SMME, we define them in these three categories: micro, small, medium enterprises. So anyone that's under 20 million rand, 0 to 20 million rand, we normally fall under the micro enterprises. Do we have micro enterprises in the room? How many do we have? Do we have small businesses that are generating anything between 20 to about 100 million? Those are small businesses. And medium businesses are any businesses that are generating between 100 to about 220 to 250 million per annum. Do we have such businesses? And obviously, if you're more than 250 million, you are now a large enterprise. Let me see by the chat to see who do we have in the room. And obviously, industry. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Great stuff. So industry sector is obviously the sector that you operate in. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Super. So we've got a lot of small businesses and some micro businesses in the room. Super great. All right, let's carry on.
Hi, Xoliswa. Sorry, can I just come in here quickly? We are hearing, Guti, your screen is showing a blank screen that people can't see your presentation. Do you mind maybe unsharing it and then just try to share it again?
Let me see, because I can see the screen on my side. Okay, let me do that.
Thank you.
Stop sharing screen. Yeah, you see, you should not have called it digital transformation. You should have called it something else. Let's see. Tell me if you start seeing something.
Okay. Yes, I'm seeing the screen. Please let us know in the comment section as well if you are able to see Xoliswa's screen. And apologies if you had missed.
You haven't missed much. There's nothing on the other slide, so don't worry.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Xoliswa.
Cool. So you guys can see my screen. We are good to go? Super. So I have been given a topic, unlocking funding through digital transformation. The approach that I've decided to take with this topic, because I mean, the two keywords are very loaded on their own. So the approach I decided to take is to unpack the two and then to start thinking and helping us think from a small business point of view, how we can leverage these platforms and these opportunities to unlock the funding to drive whatever objective that we have. So if you indulge me for the next 45 minutes or at least 30 minutes, because I want to allow space for us to have a conversation, that's the approach I'm taking. It's not technical because I'm not a technical expert in digital transformation, and nor am I a technical expert in funding. But I work predominantly in the SME development space, and I understand the needs of SMEs and their desires to build businesses that grow. And therefore, looking at these topics, how do we then leverage this to drive growth in our businesses? So I took two descriptors. So the first descriptor for funding was from the Corporate Finance Institution, and they describe funding in business as the act of contributing resources to finance a program, project, or a need. The digital transformation definition is the integration of digital technology in all areas of business, fundamentally changing how you operate and deliver value to customers. So if you keep these keywords and understand that when we as entrepreneurs and small business owners go out and look for funding, we need to be very clear why we are going out to look for funding. What is this funding going to be used for? And that's why a lot of funders will ask you, what are you going to use this funding for? Are you looking to fund growth? Are you looking to fund a project that you're starting within your business? Is there a specific need that you have identified in your company that can be unlocked or fulfilled through access to finance? The digital transformation really is saying, how do we adopt technology and integrate technology into our business, into how we do our business on a day-to-day business, so that we can either drive innovation, drive growth, drive the way we make decisions. So these are the two topics, and we are going to unpack the first one, funding, and then we are going to unpack digital transformation so that you understand. And I'm sure most of us are already doing some of these things, but because we might not have had the language or the terms for these, we might think, oh, right now we are not digitally transformed. But you'll find that in small ways, you are adopting digital transformation. So let's start with the idea of funding and why people go out to look for money, and why funding is important. So the most common reasons why people go out for money is if you are starting a business or you're starting a new product or a service that is capital intensive, you might want to go out and look for money to fund that initiative. If you have an existing business and you've been running for a couple of years, but you are now looking to expand or grow it, whether it's accessing a new market, accessing a new area, whatever it is, you are looking at ways of growing your business, and you say, for me to fund the growth, to be able to employ the people that I need, to be able to set up an office in that area, I might need funding to grow. So that's looking for funding to fund expansion or growth of a business. You might be a business that's operating, but you are not having enough money to cover your working needs. So things like salary, rent, insurance, all these things that you have to pay on a day-to-day basis. You might be a business that's struggling to meet those obligations, and you're needing funding to cover working capital. Or you have a purchase order, you've just secured a tender, and but you don't have money to deliver on the tender, and therefore you will go out and look for money to fulfill that customer order. You might be looking for money to fund asset acquisition. So there's a piece of land that you want to buy, or an office space that you want to buy, or there's a truck or a plant that you want to buy for whatever type of business that you have. And therefore you go out and look for that money, because when you secure that piece of equipment or that piece of land, it can expand your production, it can help you improve productivity. So it's very important when you sit as a small business owner and you start thinking, oh, we actually have to go out and look for money. What are you looking for this money for? What are you going to use this money in? And how is it going to enable your business growth and development? You might go out and look for money and say, you know what, we are venturing into a new industry as a business, and we need to understand, or a new market, we need to do research to understand the market that we are operating in. What are the needs? What are the challenges? How best can we position our product and our service to deliver to that need that we've identified? You might be looking at acquiring a company, or being acquired, and making sure that you prepare yourself to be acquired or acquire a company. You might be looking at building partnerships. So these are some of the reasons why small business owners, or business owners in general, and entrepreneurs in general, will go out to look for money. So I think the first thing you need to decide, don't just go be applying. So SME South Africa supports funding and helps entrepreneurs unlock access to these opportunities. But before you even go to them, answer the question for yourself: why am I looking for money? why am I looking for funding? What am I trying to do with the funding that I'm going to secure? Then with that in mind, you then have to sit down and reflect and say, where can I get the money? Once you've established the need for the money and why you want the money, you then say, where can I get the money? So areas where small businesses and businesses in generally can get the money. The first one, this is overlooked, is self-funding. And I know it's overlooked because some of us don't even have the money to fund these ventures. But some of us work, and therefore we can take a portion of our salary and invest in the business and become self-investors. So we use our personal income to fund the business. And if you already have an operating business, you might fund this from the profits that you make from your business. So you can say, instead of declaring dividends at the end of year, we can then say we are going to take back the money that we make and reinvest in the business. So reinvest the profits of the business into building growth and supporting growth of our venture. So it really depends on where you are. But self-funding is the easier route. You don't have to have a business plan for yourself. You can decide what are the risks that you want to take. So that's one area. Personal networks is friends and family. So people that have a vested interest to see you grow and that might have access to some capital to support you in your growth ambition. And these can come in a form of a loan. They can come in a form of just donation. They give you donation because they believe in this dream so much. It can also come in the form of them asking for a piece of the pie of the business that you're building. So it's important that even when you're engaging with your family and friends and you're asking for money, you are very clear on what the money is going to be used for and what the return on investment will be for them. Because sometimes people are expecting something, and really a lot of people avoid the personal networks because relationships die because of money, but relationships can also thrive if we are very open and honest around our ideas and our opportunities and how we see the people that invest in our dreams as entrepreneurs can also benefit in the growth of this potential business. So it's important that we look at those. Other opportunities around crowdfunding sites. There are a number of sites. If you type crowdfunding on your website today, you'll find options that you come in where a number of people invest small amounts of money in funding your business. And again, the options can be different. Others for returns in terms of profit. Others are funding it to get interest. Others are funding it to get equity. So understand the terms of the relationship and what that looks like. You can go to the bank. And I know a lot of us are struggling with the banks. We're not getting a lot of joys from the bank because the requirements of a bank might be stringent. And you need to understand that the bank is keeping other people's money. And therefore, if they are going to borrow a small business money or borrow an entrepreneur money, they need some guarantees that the money can be paid back, or there's other ways in which they can recoup that money. And that's why you find most banks will ask for security. So do you have a home that we can attach to the loan that you're applying for? Do you have a car that we can attach? Or do you have assets that we can attach? Because they also have to protect their investors' money. And it's not that banks are difficult, but it's their mandate. Their job is to make sure that whatever they give you, they can make it back and make it back with interest. And that's how they make money. So you have to be clear again. When you go to the bank, if they ask you for a business plan, make sure that you've got that business plan. You are very clear on what the growth path of your business is. And most banks would want traction. So they don't fund ideas. They fund people that have already started something, that have seen traction and results from what they are doing. So it's important that you understand who you are talking to and the type of funder that you are engaging. Developmental funding institutions like your IDC, like NEF, they might have, or other initiatives, they might have funding available, but they have a mandate to also fulfill, understand the mandate of the funder. They might say, We are prepared to fund businesses that can help create jobs. Maybe that's their mandate. So when you approach a funder as well, understand what their mandate is and how you as a business can help them fulfill that mandate. You've got the other layer of angel investors and venture capitalists. And these are people, angel investors are high net worth individuals that have money to burn, and they want to find opportunities and invest in smaller businesses that they can take a piece of the pie. So they want equity, and sometimes they get involved in the day-to-day of your business, so they can provide strategic advisory, they can unlock opportunities. Venture capitalists then manage other people's investments, and they go look for businesses that they can invest in for a higher return, also taking equity in the business. Again, it's important that you understand the type of investor that you are engaging. The one that's mostly overlooked and a lot of small businesses participate in is it's programs, incubators, and accelerators. When you think about this, you might think, oh, I'm going into a program, they're giving me office space, they're giving me tools, they're giving me this, but it's not funding. It is funding, because if you think about it, on an ordinary day, you might have to pay for office space. On an ordinary day, you might have to pay for marketing tools that you're getting from the business, the incubator that you're part of. On an ordinary day, you might need to pay for the assets, but because they've created an industrial site where you could use that space, that's a form of funding. A lot of small businesses overlook that, and they don't even quantify what the value of the investment from incubators and accelerators or programs looks like. So it's important to understand that that is a form of investment as well. Other small business might think, oh, I'm just going to go public. And they then start selling shares to the public, and they list like their first IPOs and sell shares into their business. So these are some of the ways, and I've not exhausted the list, but these are common. And you might say, where am I going to finding what is required? It's important that you understand the mandate of the funder, you understand the requirements, and if you're looking for a particular funding from an investor, make sure that when you go to them, you at least meet their requirements, their minimum requirements, and that can reduce the level of declines and unsuccessful applications that we have at the moment. So these are some of the ways in which one can raise funding. Please note your questions on the chat box. Note them so that when I finish, we can talk about it. There are three types of funding that are generally popular within the SME ecosystem. So the first one is obviously grants, and these grants are either from a government source like NEF, IDC, GEP, all these elements. So you get grants, and sometimes in programs and incubators, you've got programs that have a grant element. And grant is often perceived as free money. So it's money that I don't have to pay back. But yes, it's free that you don't have to pay back, but there are conditions to the grant. Sometimes they say, I give you 100,000 rand. In return, I want you to create 2 jobs by the end of the program. Understand the underlying terms and conditions of the money that you're accepting into your business, because should you fail to fulfill the grant mandate or the obligation of that grant that you received, you might be liable to pay it back. So you just looked at the top line to say, I don't need to pay it back, but you did not read the terms and conditions. So it's important that as small businesses, when you go in and you are part of a program, you are part of an initiative, and they say we've got grant funding, understand what the underlying T's and C's are. What do they want in return? It might not be money back, but it might be you creating jobs. It might be you providing data of your insights that you're getting. Whatever it is, understand the terms and conditions. You might also look at a loan option where somebody gives you 100 rand and you pay it back as 150. So it has an interest bearing to it, and you can agree obviously with the funder based on your affordability, based on your profile and all these things. So loans, and most banks use the loan option. So they would give you a loan, a portion of the loan, and then charge you interest on it, and you pay it over time. And it can be a short-term period or it can be a long-term period. Again, understand the terms. Equity is when somebody gives you the investment that you need in exchange for a piece of your business. So if you own 100% of your business today and you approach an equity investor, they would take a portion of the equity. So they might say, we give you R1 million in exchange for 20% of the equity. These things are important because you then have to say, how do I value whether 1 million is enough for my business, for the 20% that they want? What else are they getting, or what else am I getting outside of the money? So those are the things that we really have to consider as small businesses as we approach and deal with the subject of funding. Cool. So now we've covered the funding landscape, the one part of the topic today. And I hope with just the few slides that I've shared, you have an understanding of why funding matters in your business, what it can be used for, where you can get the funding, and how it can be utilized to drive your own business objectives. So that's the one part. The second part of the topic today is digital transformation. And I just want to look at why it matters. Why should we be concerned about digital transformation in our businesses at this time? The first one is really thinking about...
Xoliswa, I'm so sorry to do this to you again, but can you please move the slides along to the slide that you are currently on? I think we are still all stuck on slide 2.
I mean, I'm moving, guys.
I wonder
So do you see the grants, loans, and equity?
No, we are still on funding in business and digital transformation. We're still on the second slide.
Good. I don't know, guys. Digital transformation is not transforming today.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay. So let's stop and share again.
Thank you.
Okay. So you guys must stop me before I carry on. Ne? So what do you see? What's on your screen now? What's on your screen now?
Now I'm just seeing your name.
Tina?
Lisa, can you hear me? I'm just seeing your name. And that seems to be the consensus as well on the chat.
Okay. Okay, let's share again. I'll share again. What happens?
Okay, it says you started sharing. Yes, now we can see the grants, loans, and equity slide. Thank you,
Tina, if you can share, if you're able to share the presentation with the attendees, I think that will also be helpful because I think I've moved quite a bit. So I'm just gonna check if you saw the slide. So
yeah, so what we're gonna do for the benefit of everybody, we'll share this presentation with everybody who's attending right after this webinar. Okay.
Cool. So these are some of the slides. You guys can see these slides. Okay, you can see these slides?
Yes. Yes, we can. Yes.
So this is some of the content that we've covered under funding. So you'll find all these slides here. And now we are here. Do you see the slide, why digital transformation matters?
Yes,
this
100%.
Is at the moment.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. So yeah, so as I was saying, why digital transformation matters, we've already given the definition of what digital transformation is in our first slide. And it's really integrating technology in how we do business and create value for our customers and other stakeholders. So why does this matter? It matters because once we start adopting technology into our business, once we start integrating technology into our business, we can help improve customer experience. So for instance, if you are a business that's mostly a manual business, and people have to come to you to inquire about a service or a product that you're offering, there's no other ways that they can't reach you online, they can't reach you on your website. The customer experience is not an enjoyable one, because I need to take a taxi, or I need to drive to that place just to ask for information. Maybe I'm not even ready to purchase. But also it can improve customer experience, that it makes it easier for customers to do business with you. So you have to think about it in that sense. Boost productivity and increase efficiency. So if it normally takes us 10 hours to do a certain function, because, for instance, I run a consultancy, and if I had to go do training physically in a particular country, in a particular province or a particular city, I need to allocate traveling time. I need to allocate a facilitator. I need to ensure that there's a venue, there's all these things. But with things like what we are doing today, it's us embracing technology, because we say we can do business anywhere. And therefore, with just my laptop, my internet connectivity, and the few slides that we have created, we've reduced the cost of doing business, and we've increased efficiency, because now I can reach people from across the country instead of traveling from one province to the other to deliver the same topic. So these are some of the things that we look at. And so therefore, it takes me an hour or two to prepare the presentation. It takes me an hour to deliver the presentation. There's no driving time. I've improved productivity. I can use the rest of my time, invest it in other things. So that's how you need to also start looking at it. It reduces costs. With the example that I've just used, there's no traveling cost that I'm incurring today. There's no venue cost that I'm incurring today with the presentation that I'm delivering. So I've reduced a substantial amount of cost by just embracing online technology and leveraging on platforms like Zoom to deliver the content we are delivering today. So think about how you can improve your business and reduce costs. So if you had to list your process of delivering value, of creating and capturing and delivering value for your customers, and say, where can we reduce costs by integrating technology into our business? You can start looking at those things. I mean, 2021, when we went through COVID, a lot of our sessions were physical, and therefore we had to travel into the different provinces that we work in. But because there was lockdown, it meant we could not travel, and we had an option as a business to wait until the lockdown restrictions were lifted, or we needed to find a better way. And we said we can't lose the source of funding, because as small businesses, every cent matters, every cent counts. We then said we'll go online, and we started embracing online teaching and online facilitation, and we kept our revenue. I think we were most profitable in that period than we were in any other period, just by embracing technology and leveraging digital tools to deliver the value that we deliver to our customers. It can unlock innovation. So once you start thinking about the way things are done, so companies like your Uber, like your Airbnb, where they've unlocked new ways of doing things in a particular industry by adopting and integrating technology. No longer do people have to go to a taxi rank to catch a taxi. They can call a taxi in their homes. And that's what Uber has done, using a digital platform. So think about that. How do you unlock innovation with the tools that you are adopting in your business? It can help you make data-driven decisions that can help you drive growth. So once you're a business that collects data and you start seeing a trend of the type of customers that you are servicing, the types of needs that they they are wanting to fulfill, you might be able to say, let's capitalize on this, because now we understand our customers, we understand what they need. We can then build an offering that directly responds to the need of what they've expressed and what we have seen through data. So it's not just gut feeling, it's really data-driven decisions that help you make and scale your business. It gives you a competitive advantage because, again, as small businesses, we are so late in adopting technology at the moment. And if you become the business that adopts technology and adopts digital transformation, immediately gives you a competitive advantage and elevates you to play a bigger game. You guys can still see my screens. Perfect.
Yes, we can. Thanks.
I need to check. So we've covered a few areas of where digital transformation matters and what and where it matters. So the first one is business model transformation. This is really looking at how your business does business. Who do you serve? Where do you serve? What do you do? What do you create? What's the product? What's the service? And how do you deliver it to your customers? So you look at that and say, how can I transform my business model using technology? So if, for instance, like I used the example earlier on, if most of your services are physical, can you go online and deliver the same services, scale your business? So instead of targeting city by city, you use technology to target the entire country. So those are some of the things that you can start looking at. For instance, when Netflix started, they were using DVD and you had to purchase the box. But now you can literally load the app and just sign up using that. So it's really transforming how you do business and making sure that it becomes easier for you and you can build a scalable business through it. Process transformation is looking at the different processes in your business, whether it's the process of how you serve your customers, how you sell to your customers, how you deliver customer service, how you market your business, and say, how can we leverage digital technology to transform that? So for instance, if you do cold calling as part of your sales process, all you do is you have a piece of paper and a pen, and you create it. You take Yellow Pages. Yellow Pages does not even exist anymore, I think. But you create a database and you just call people manually and you mark. You just mark what the reason, and sometimes that paper, you lose that database, that book, that black book that you've created of your customers and the people that you have called. But integrating Salesforce as an example, or Pipedrive, and saying, this is the digital technology that we are going to use to manage our customer relationships and our sales relationship, to track where we are and to be able to see where people fall off in our sales process, so that we can either take that data and help improve. So if, for instance, you've got a 5-step sales process, but you see that people are falling off after you've delivered a presentation, you then have to say, what's missing? Why are people falling off? They give me the opportunity for the discovery call, where I understand what their needs are. I prepare a presentation to them or a proposal to them. They come back. We have a third step where we are now negotiating. But after here, they fall off. Once you start collecting data on why they are falling off, you are able to improve that particular process to be able to unlock 4th and 5th stages up until you get to the close section. So improving processes can, again, be in your sales process, in your customer service process. It can be in your marketing process. It could be in the way you create and produce the product or the service that you deliver. So it could be in your delivering process. So looking at those options. The domain transformation is really looking at the entire business and say, how do I transform this business and ensure that I integrate digital transformation? If you remember a few years ago, about 24 years ago, when Capitec started, they said you don't have to stand queues, Mola. They created those ticketing systems to give us ticket numbers so that we are clear, and they created the lines. They started taking pictures so we didn't have to carry 100 documents to go and apply for a loan or a savings account. So those are some of the things that you start thinking about when you are looking at business, to say, if I'm operating in a paper-intensive environment, how can I integrate digital technology to lessen the paperwork and to make sure that it's seamless and easier for my people, for my customers to do business with me? And really, that's what you are wanting to do, is how do I integrate digital technology in my business to make it easier for customers to do business with me, for partners to do business with me? That's what you want to do. Automating is taking manual processes and making them automated, and now they can do, for instance, things like scheduling. So instead of sitting every day and posting on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can schedule your posts for the week and make sure that they automatically go in at a particular time that you've set for it. So these are some of the things that when you think digital transformation, and I know that you are already doing these things in your business. So I've given you some key terms or key tools of digital transformation. You've got your customer relationship management systems, and I've given examples. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
Superness. So these are some of the tools that can be used: customer relationship management, cloud computing, document management systems. I've given you examples, artificial intelligence. There's so much vastness in this topic of digital transformation. And for you as a small business, it might be difficult to adopt everything at once. But looking at an area and say, where do I file my documents? Do I still have these hard files that if my office burns, they're all gone? Can I integrate something like Google Drive? So every file that I create for my customer, I will just save it on Google Drive. You'll be using a document management system, or save it on SharePoint, or save it on Dropbox. This is how we are going to share and transfer documents between the people that we engage with. Adopting programs like Trello and Monday.com to manage and facilitate collaboration between teams in your company. So instead of passing emails left and right and things get lost in the air, you use this platform to track where people are at, what they need to be doing, what actions, what has been fulfilled. So these are some of the ways that digital transformation can be utilized and is currently utilized in spaces. And to answer the long question that we started with, how can digital transformation help me unlock funding? It's important because once you start positioning yourself as a company that is embracing technology, as a company that is utilizing technology to drive growth, you start positioning yourself as a small business, as a company for the future, and you future-proof this company, because investors want to know that you are in this for the long game, and that if I invest in your business today, I'm not investing in a business that will die tomorrow. But because of the integration of technology and what you are doing to adopt technology into your business, we are guaranteeing a few years in and making sure that they can reap the return of their investment and you can drive growth. So these are some of the ways in which digital transformation can help you. And if, for instance, you start saying to funders, I am looking for funding to do this particular element of my business and integrate technology in this way, and I believe that if we bring in, or if we build this platform or integrate this platform, we can be able to grow and scale our business by this much. And in 10 years, we are going to be in so many countries. That becomes attractive. And that's how you then unlock funding for your business and ensure that you build a digitally transformed enterprise. For the purposes of today, I will end here. I hope it was valuable.
Thank you so much, Xoliswa. This was definitely valuable. I was a little bit touched in my studio when you started mentioning things like paperwork and automating things. And I'm also just like, There are things that internally at SME South Africa that we can definitely do better on, especially when it comes to automating, because really it does save time, it does make your business more efficient, and we can only, there's a wise man actually that once said, AI won't take our jobs and technology will not take our jobs. It will only be the people that know how to use technology that take our jobs. So it's just a very, very nice takeaway, something to ponder upon if you're like me, who's a little bit guilty there. But I think, we have to thank you, Xoliswa, for this presentation. I like the straightforward and, it's so easy to follow on every point that you made. We do apologize again for people that have missed, maybe a few slides in the beginning. Again, we will share this presentation with everybody at the end. But I just want to encourage everybody to drop your questions in, pop them in. Let us know what you think, whether it's a comment or just a suggestion or a concern. Maybe you are running a business and you're finding some of these things still challenging. Maybe you are wanting to, just like from today, say, I'm definitely going to take up this challenge and, try and automate my business as much as possible. We welcome all your comments, all your questions, and Xoliswa is going to stay a few minutes and just answer all your questions for you. So don't be afraid to do that. And then I saw that somebody, I was also just mentioning that they wanted to get some crowdfunding platforms. I don't know, Xoliswa, from the top of your head, if you are able to kind of provide just different crowdfunding platforms that you know. I know of one or two that I can also mention, but I think from your side, Xoliswa, if there's anything while we wait for the rest of the questions to come through.
Cool. There's the People's Fund, there's Thunder Fund. Again, it depends on what you're looking for. There's Jumpstarter, there's Uprise Africa. So if you just go to Google, Google is our life, guys. Type crowdfunding South Africa or crowdfunding global, you'll find the information.
Yeah. Okay, and we've also got a guide that we have written on SME South Africa as well, that basically just gives you all the information, all the outline about funding, how much just basically everything, what you need to know about funding, how to get a crowdfunding campaign going, the benefits of it, etc., etc. I have shared the link in the chats. If you just scroll up, you'll be able to find it. So let's get into the questions real quickly. So somebody's asking, does pitching require 5 minutes time to pitch, or that depends on the funder? That's from Bonamile, Michael.
Okay, so it really depends on the funder. And the reason they keep it short and keep it to 5 minutes, 3 minutes, it's because really that's how you need to summarize your business. Because you'll find that a lot of people blab. So if you give them 30 minutes, they will spend 30 minutes not talking about their business, what they want, what they're going to use it for, and why it's important and what the return on investment is, because that's what you're trying to answer in that 5 minutes or the 3 minutes. And if you give them longer, they will talk about their cats and dogs and not get to the point. So founders are trying to keep it short, to say, capture me in 5 minutes, because also it's the attention span. People have a short span in terms of concentration. So if you can capture me in 3 minutes and tell me who you are, what you do, what problem are you trying to solve, what the money is going to be used for, and how it's going to help you grow, and what am I going to benefit from giving you the money, then you've got it covered.
All righty, nice one. And then another question that's come through says, in practical steps, please, Xoliswa, how would we start on CRMs like HubSpot and Salesforce?
So practical, and I see there's a hand, so we can take the hand as well. So practical terms is really thinking about your business, because saying, what business am I in right now? What do I do? And then I would say the most practical step is to say, look at how you currently do business. And you say, okay, fine. Let me look at how I sell. What is my process of selling? Then you list the process. What is my process of customer service delivery? What is my delivery process? If you list all those key steps in your business in terms of how you capture, deliver value, capture, create, and deliver value, you then say, okay, where can I use technology to improve? What technology can I use? Because all these technologies are different. So you start looking at HubSpot, and sometimes there are freer options, right? There's free options where you say, let me test of saying, let's say, for instance, when I service customers, all my customers are in my WhatsApp, are on my phone. The only place I keep my records for the customers that I work with is on my phone. And if my phone gets lost, I lose all the data. But now, instead of keeping the contacts on my phone, I am going to take a platform like HubSpot and use the function of saving customer information there. And you start creating a database of all your customers and an email, building their email base, and then you start using integrating things like sending them weekly emails to tell them about your special, to give them newsletters. That's how you integrate. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, that was pretty straightforward. Okay, so I see there are, other people asking on the chat as well if we could share that crowdfunding guide. I definitely will drop it in the comments in 1 second. Oh, in fact, Karaba has shared it already onto our onto the chat. So if you can just check it out, Aletta, you'll definitely find it there. And then the following question then says, what's the most important points to consider when pitching for funding? And this is from Huta Fato.
All right. So for me, the most
Fato,
important
sorry.
part, and the first important is to look at ourselves. So look at what you have to go and present or share or showcase, whatever it is, whether it's the pitch itself, the pitch deck itself, or it's something that you have created. If you were on the other side, you are now a funder and somebody else was coming with what you are going with, would you fund them? So for me, it's asking ourselves, the way ngingakhona manje, with what I have, if I go there, if somebody came to me and they came with some tools or whatever, and maybe it's not complete, and maybe a presentation that's not like prepared well or whatever it is, or a business plan that's missing some holes, would you fund that person? So that's the first thing, is always put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're going to ask money from. The second thing is, like I said earlier on, depending on which funder you are going to. So we shared that slide with saying there are different types of funders. There's or funding options. You can fund yourself. You can go to family and friends. You can go to angel investors. Go to banks and whatever it is. Understand what the requirements of that particular funder are. So for other funders, just need a pitch deck, a 10-page document presentation. Then you prepare that. Others want an entire business plan that you need to prepare. If you're looking for money from them, you have to prepare that. You can't say they must change their system to accommodate you. So I think those are some of the things. And just go there prepared. Be very clear on saying, this is the opportunity I've identified or the problem that I've identified. I need funding to service this project, to service this need, to service this growth opportunity. And I believe that once I receive the funding, I will use it to purchase equipment, to hire people, to do 1, 2, 3. And in return of you giving me this money, I see a return on investment that looks like I can be able to pay you this money with interest, or I can be able to give you a percentage of my business. So I can give you 10% of my business so that you gain in the upside. So you also have to be prepared to answer, what are you prepared to exchange the money of the investor with your business? What is it that you are prepared to give in order to secure the money that you want?
All right, that's great stuff. I'm going to allow Tirani Manchester to just ask a question. They have raised their hand. So Tirani, go ahead and ask your question, please. Tirani, are you still there? Okay, Tirani had raised their hand. If there's anybody else that wants to ask a question right now directly to Xoliswa, please just raise your hand. Let's give you an opportunity to ask your question, and then we'll be wrapping up in the next couple of minutes. Okay, I see there's Sandra that's raised her hand. Sandra, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Am I the only one that's not hearing Sandra?
Sandra,
okay, am I
I
audible?
can't hear you. Sandra, we can't hear you. Can you
hear me now?
unmute yourself? Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Oh, all right. Okay. Thank you so much for the great webinar. And the information was very straightforward. But what I need to ask, I've already asked that in the chat box, so you can ignore the chat box. I need to know, like you've given us a whole lot of apps, that we can use for certain needs. Is it possible for you to, because of, some of us are not that jacked up when it comes to technology. So when you talk about, let's say, HubStop, you tell us HubStop, this is where you go when you need to do this. And when you go to Google app or Google whatever, this is what you go to when you want to look at this. When you do CRM, this is where so when you need to do the following, so unpack each to say that this one is responsible to give you this kind of information. This one is responsible to, or this one will be able to store your information. This one will be able to, if I'm making myself clear.
Yeah, I think there is a slide in the presentation that I tried to do that. Obviously, for the purposes of not cluttering the presentation, I did not. I did not add. So this slide. So I said for customer relationship management, you can use HubSpot, Salesforce, or Zoho, and there's a number of them. So for document management system, and that's really where you store your data. You can use things like your documents and share your documents. You can use things like Dropbox, SharePoint, Google Drive. So these words underneath are some of the examples, but obviously they're not exhaustive. You can look for ones that are relevant for your business, and the ones that are friendlier, because there are some ones that are a bit complex. There are free ones. So depending on where you are in your business journey and your finances, you can look for free options. And then as you build and you get familiar with the tools, you can then integrate the paid versions, which then unlock more features.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. I'll go through this slide. I think that will help.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Tobegile also wants to ask a question, and I think this will be probably the second last question. If there's anybody else, do raise your hand now. Otherwise, we'll just wrap up with Tobegile's question.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Tobegile. Go
All
ahead.
right. Thank you for the session for today. My question is, I own a company that runs alcoholic ice cream, and I wanted to ask if the alcohol is not excluded in your funding and anything that related to funding, because I know with the government, they call us syntax. So they kind of not fund a business that has or that manufactures or that produces anything that has alcohol. So I just wanted to know if you guys are not excluding us.
I'll answer in general, and then I think then I will answer for SME South Africa if you guys are excluding other people. And for me, generally, what I've seen is that a lot of BEV, particularly alcoholic BEV businesses, they are excluded because you are considered a sin business, obviously, right?
Yes.
So that becomes a challenging. I've got a friend who up here, where Dologas,
Yes, I know her.
yeah, she's doing a conference now in April to answer some of those questions that you are having, because and that's the reality, is that right now there's limited opportunities in the market to fund alcoholic businesses, and it's unfortunate. But it's looking at those, and it's a long, well conversation of trying to see how else can we position and help make sure that businesses like yours do access funding, but it's still a long way off. I don't know, Tina, do you guys fund wonke umuntu?
Yes, so basically with us as SME South Africa, we basically play the role of a middleman. So we don't actually fund small businesses or entrepreneurs directly. What would happen is that we would process your funding request to our funding partners, who would then consider your type of funding, the need, and obviously the amount that you're looking for. So I wouldn't automatically, because I'm not quite sure which of our finances and funders, our funding partners, actually do fund alcohol beverages. So I think I would encourage you to just go into our website, www.smesouthafrica.co.za, and just click on the funding tab and put in your details, share, your FICA information. And then from there, depending on what type of funding you're looking for, we will then either connect you with the funder or be able to kind of feedback to say, there'll be feedback. There'll basically be comms from there. I wouldn't want to just discount and say no right now.
Okay, I get
So
you.
put
Thank
in
you
your
so
funding
much.
applications. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So I think this brings us to the very end of our webinar. If anybody wants to connect with Xoliswa Mkhwanazi, they're more than welcome to do so. We will share essentially, no, in fact, I think you can literally just go onto LinkedIn and look for Xoliswa Mkhwanazi, or search for Collab for Growth. The 4 is a numerical 4. So you can go ahead and just search there and connect with Xoliswa, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer any questions that you might still have and things that you're wondering about. But in the meantime, I've got a bit of an exciting news as well that's just come in. Our platform manager has just informed me that we can actually give away 10 tickets at a discounted price for no, okay, so it's not 10, sorry. He's signaling to me that it's everybody that's joined this webinar. So everybody that's joined this webinar has an opportunity to actually get tickets to the Funding Summit at a discounted rate of 100 Rand. So the normal ticket price is 350, but if you've joined this webinar, you'll be able to purchase your ticket for 250, and that special link will come in to your personal email box, and it'll be a unique link that you use. So do take advantage of that if you still want to join us for the Funding Summit. And then we also will be sharing the presentation that Xoliswa has gone through with us today, just for your benefit as well. And yeah, continue to engage with SME South Africa on the different social media platforms. Connect with me as well. I am Tina Madonsela, and I actually realized during this presentation that I didn't actually introduce myself. So if anybody has picked that up, excuse my manners. But I am Tina Madonsela, and I'm currently doing the business development at SME South Africa. So if you'd like to have a chat with me there, ask any questions, feel free. I am on LinkedIn. And yeah, I see we're getting some love, some hearts. At least it's still Valley month. So we appreciate everybody who's sending us hearts.
Tina?
But Xoliswa, any last words just to wrap up there? This was a great session.
Quick one. I see Uvelona Uzoshaya says, my question has not been answered. So before I wrap up, can we answer the question? What was the question?
Okay. Who's that again? So maybe I can...
Velona.
Oh, the Q&A. Oh, Valona. Okay, so Valona says technology has a way of taking away the intimacy and social connection needed to develop strong business relationships, resulting in what we call fake relations, which do not stand the test of time. Most business persons or entrepreneurs eventually do not develop trust with customers or business partners. How can this be overcome to ensure that it subconsciously becomes a hindrance? that it subconsciously becomes a hindrance to securing funding?
Sure. I should not have taken that question. I'm joking.
Rather you than me.
Um,
Okay.
every change that happens, there's always going to be resistance and a way in which people look at things, right? And I think we have an option to embrace that, whether we like it or not, this is where the world is going. The world is going digital, right? And we can choose to be left behind, or we can choose to be part of it. And I don't think it necessarily removes the human connection, right? But it just says, in the process of delivering the value that we are creating, we might have to use more of technology to increase and to improve how we do business. So for me, I look at it that way. You might still want to at least once a quarter meet with your customers and engage with them, or in your delivery process, say one process is meeting with a client one-on-one and seeing them one-on-one, so there's ways in which we can integrate this technology. And I think for me, it's just the perception of what you look at technology and you think it is doing. And if you think it's stealing jobs, then you'll have a negative perception of it. If you think it's not effective, then you'll have a negative perception of it. For me, it's saying this is technology is helping us to do business better. And if we're wanting to grow our businesses, we need to find ways in which we integrate it in how we then do business. And then how do we still keep the human element of it? And the human element could be, we have sessions once a quarter with our customers where we meet physically. It's if we are doing a sales process, one of the process in the 5-step process is a physical meet, if that's important. For others, it's not important, because for instance, I can do business anywhere in the world using technology, which is something that would not have been available about 15 years ago, because I would have to be physically in that environment that I work in. So for me, those are some of the things that I tend to embrace with technology. It has its flaws. It's not perfect, but we are here to kind of contribute to making sure that it delivers the results that we want.
And I also just want to echo your sentiments there, because I feel like, okay, as a, just being an ecosystem partner to the whole SME building community for the past couple of years. So I agree with Xoliswa. You definitely, there will be resistance to anything that's new. But I think for me, what I find is that the more that you humanize your brand, yes, through the physical contact touch points, but I think there's a way that we can all capitalize and use social media just to kind of reinforce and humanize our brands. I mean, now a business can open up a TikTok page, they can do videos, they can create content, they can create vlogs. There's different ways that we can still use technology to kind of humanize our brands without saying, oh, it doesn't, technology, you're not able to build trust through technology. I hope I'm making sense, but I think definitely, just to create that sense of social connection as well, let's utilize some of the platforms we have. YouTube is a great tool. The YouTube Shorts, TikTok, LinkedIn as well is a very great tool to kind of, start telling your brand story, start sharing practical information with people. I think I've found it does, kind of help to humanize your brand and make it, more relatable in a way, even though, you might be looking and, at virtual or online options, but I think definitely let's not shy away from using some of these tools at our disposal. Okie dokes. I'm going to end this webinar here. You can definitely be able to, so we'll share the link to the webinar, we'll share the presentation, as well as then your unique discount code where you can buy your tickets to the summit within your email. But if you just want to recap on what has taken place today, you are more than welcome to go to our YouTube channel and you can just watch the whole video from the start to the end. And hopefully this has been of value to you and your business. And thank you so much for just spending the time with us. We really, really do appreciate it. Stay tuned to our social media as well for more updates on the future and upcoming webinars. We are going to be hosting more webinars and exciting ones as well. So stay tuned and interact with us and share with your community if you do have a community as well. Thank you so much, everybody. This is where we love and leave you. Let me just show my face just to say goodbye. We appreciate everybody who has joined in today. So thank you so much as well for hosting and making the session as valuable as it has been.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tina and the SME South Africa team and Garabo for having me. I hope it was valuable. Let's go out and build businesses that transcend survival stage, and we are building growth-orientated businesses. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy
All right, cheers, everybody. Bye for now.